You have obviously hit some high highs, you fought through some low lows, and this is why I think entrepreneurs and fighters get along so well because it's your brain doesn't know. I've been reading a lot about this of like some of the things you go through, they don't know the severity of it. To your brain, it's still life and death. And so it's still how do you handle that because you would pretty much handle that the same way. But I'm finding it interesting in take a guy who won the UFC title, for example. Like, so some of my buddies have won UFC championships, and afterwards you go to the after party and you're like, how do you feel? It's never what you think they would say. It's always kind of like, well, I got this, and I was waiting for me to get this to be like, all right. But then all of a sudden it becomes almost more stress, almost more of a burden, or you have these like weird identity things, and then you hit these mountaintops, and then it's kind of like a now what moment. So for you, somebody who climbed that mountain, was there any sort of like identity crisis that happened after you hit that first exit and got that big check that maybe nobody thinks about or talks about?
100%. I would say the day that that money hit my bank account, I made the distribution from our company to the three founders. That was euphoria. That was, dopamine high. And then I'd say, it sounds horrible, but I would say probably 3 or 4 hours later, I got hit with what am I going to do next? And that is something that we also work with founders on after they exit is a plan of, do you want to go buy a business? Do you want to go chill on a beach for a bit? I personally can never do that. Like I will never retire. I'm always going to have my hands in something. But it is a lot of that. To your point, it's like, what's next? And you see it in sports. You see it in the Super Bowl even. The Patriots just lost, and I saw that their next thing was like, all right, 307 days until preseason, and it's like, or until the next, live game or whatever. And it's always that next step. So, I would tell founders out there that don't get admired by like all the shiny stuff on Instagram and people saying, oh, I just bought a Ferrari because I sold my business. Internally, they're not that much more happy having that Ferrari. Like, yeah, it might give them some joy, but like there's always going to be that what's next. And I think that is part of my like best advice is learn to enjoy the journey. And that's what I'm doing. Like after all the stressful times at Flow State Branding, like when we had COVID hit, we had our full branded merchandise pipeline fall out from under us. We had to let go of 2 employees. We had no guaranteed income. What did we do? We pivoted into PPE. So we started selling masks to the state of Colorado because they had giant shortages. We worked with DaVita Kidney Care and provided them masks and nitrile gloves. And we hired back those 2 employees, and we actually had our first 7-figure month, very low margins, but selling PPE. We completely reinvented our company over a weekend. And looking back on that journey, I'm like, that was freaking cool what we did. And we were able to bring people back that we had to let go. And like, we made it. We ended up taking what could have been an easy failure and going to exit. And so my biggest advice is learn to enjoy the journey. And that's what I'm doing at Volare. I'm able to look back on that and be like, be thankful for every day, like every like up and down, like it's all got an end. And it's not rocket science. It's not heart surgery. Like no one's going to die on the table if you have a bad sales call or you have a client tell you we're not going to work with you. So I've learned to enjoy the journey a lot more having been through all of that gnarly stuff.